watching OCTV from the new studio.
Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Alexis Ware. In this week's news, recycling fees going up in the village, student collecting returnables to help sanctuary, and council approves new snow ordinance.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Recycling fees will soon be going up in the village. Officials voted 5-0 to have village residents pay an additional $1.12 per month beginning in May. Village residents currently pay around $11 per month for recycling services from Green for Life Environmental USA Incorporated. Council members also discussed the need for residents to be better informed on how to properly sort their recyclables.
A local company was awarded a contract worth $178,000 to resurface a portion of West Burdick Street later this year. There's a possibility that approximately 65% of the cost could be covered by state and county funds. Last week, the Oxford Village Council voted 5-0 to award the job to Birmingham Silco Incorporated. The project involves removing the top 2 inches of Burdick between Ashley Way and M24 and replacing it with 2 inches of new asphalt. The work is currently scheduled between July 1st and August 2nd. Grant funding may change construction dates.
1 week before winter officially ended, the Oxford Village Council adopted an amended version of its snow and ice removal ordinance. The new ordinance allows more time to shovel, one warning per season, and lowers the fines for violators. Council voted 4-1 to approve the new ordinance at its March 12th meeting. It takes effect March 27th. Ordinance states natural falling snow or ice must be removed by 7 p.m. the following day after it snows, regardless of whether it happens during the day or night. Enforcement is between October 1st and March 31st. Civil fines for those who violate the new ordinance are $25 for a first offense, $50 for a second offense, and $75 for additional offenses and in any snow season period.
After setting the issue aside at previous meetings, the Oxford Village Council finally took action regarding whether marijuana-related businesses will be permitted or prohibited. At its March 12th meeting, Council voted 5-0 to send the issue to the Planning Commission for review and recommendation as part of the motion. Council approved setting a date for some events, such as town hall or public hearing, to get citizen input on the topic. Council is only looking at regulating or prohibiting marijuana-related business in the village. State law allows individuals aged 21 and older to use marijuana for recreational purposes and to grow inside their homes.
At the March 13th meeting, the Oxford Board of Education was unanimous in its approval of Superintendent Tim Throne's leadership of the school district. The board voted to extend Throne's contract through 2022. He will be reviewed on a biannual basis rather than an annual basis moving forward.
A student's online post was interpreted as a threat against Oxford High School on the morning of March 14th. Superintendent Tim Throne said nobody was hurt and the student has been identified and disciplined. According to Oakland County Sheriff Deputy Jason Lewert, the district's liaison officer, the post was non-credible. He said the student in question did not have access to firearms. Throne said some parents and students thought the story could be interpreted as a threat and alerted school officials. Privacy rules states Oxford High School cannot release the disciplinary actions being taken in response to the post. However, the OHS student handbook says students who make threats against school safety can be suspended or expelled. Officer Lewert said some threats can be interpreted as threats or terrorism, which can be prosecuted as a 20-year felony.
Early in the school year, Oxford Schools was randomly selected by the state of Michigan to go through a compliance audit. The audit made sure that the district was on par with some of the state's civil rights requirements in its building and policies. At the March 13th Board of Education meeting, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Davis Pass, told the board Oxford did well with a few spots in need of improvement. Oxford High School parking lot was exempt from the audit because it is scheduled to be redone this summer, at which time it is planned to meet the state guidelines.
Oxford Township took a step toward looping its water system on the west side of M24. Last week, the Township Board voted 5-0 to award an over $300,000 contract to Superior Excavating. They will work on the Manitou Lane water main project. Having a loop system as opposed to one that dead ends enables water to flow in more than one direction. This allows access to water even in the event of line breaks, or repairs.
Beaumont Health issued a press release on March 19th announcing it had filed a Certificate of Need application with the state of Michigan to build a new hospital in Oxford Township. The estimated $140 million facility would be located at the southeast corner of Lapeer Road and Market Street. Beaumont filed its application with the State Department of Health and Human Services. The department will decide whether to approve the project according to the release, and approval process should be completed by July. If approved, Beaumont expects construction of a new hospital could begin sometime within the next 2 years.
The Oxford Virtual Academy is on its way to a new facility for staff and students to use. New furniture and a fire alarm system were previously discussed at the Board of Education's February 26th meeting and was approved 7-0 on March 13th. The fire alarm system will connect the new office space and will be programmed to go off even if a nearby business catches fire.
Following the 2018 Valentine's Day shooting in Parkland, Florida, where 17 students and faculty lost their lives, the state of Michigan began rethinking some of the school safety measures. On March 13th, the Oxford Board of Education decided that Sam Barna would manage the new rules. Barna, who serves as the district's assistant superintendent of business operations, was approved in a 7-0 vote.
Thanks to a contribution from a downtown business, the Oxford Village Police Department has a new piece of equipment that will enable officers to better protect themselves and others should an active shooter incident occur. Curtis Insurance Agency donated $800 to the department to purchase a technical vest. The vest purpose is twofold. One, it serves as body armor that's stronger than a bulletproof vest officers currently wear. And it also has multiple pockets where officers can store things such as additional ammunition, extra pair of handcuffs, and tourniquets.
Oxford High School's first robotics competition team, Team 2137 Torque, competed at the first in Michigan's Belleville School District event, where they won the Chairman Award, placing the robotics team into the semifinals, and Chairman's Award is the most prestigious award to be presented. Winning this award qualifies Torque to compete with other Chairman's Award winners from other events and authorizing the team to compete at the Michigan State Championship scheduled to be held at Saginaw Valley State University April 10th through 13th.
Oxford's fire department is applying for a 3-year federal grant that, if awarded, would fund additional full-time personnel to deal with the increasing number of times when multiple medical calls are leaving the township shorthanded. The department is seeking a grant from the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Program, which is administered through the Federal Emergency Management Agency. According to Fire Chief Pete Schultz, the amount being sought has not yet been determined. If received, the money would be used to hire 6 more full-time firefighters and paramedics. Each of the department's 3 shifts would then be assigned an additional 2 firefighters.
An Oxford Village Police Patrol car is out of commission after colliding with a pickup truck last Saturday night at the Oxford downtown intersection. No one was injured in the crash, and no citations were issued.
Later this week, the Hill Oxford High School Sits Atop will be alive with the sound of music, As student actors bring the famous musical to the stage March 21st through March 24th, the importance of family has stood out as the major theme to the cast, and they think the audience will walk away seeing that family can trump over everything, playing a variety of times between March 21st and March 24th. Tickets can be purchased online at oxfordmusical.com or at OHS Performing Arts Center box office. The box office is open Monday through Friday through 3 to 4 p.m. Tickets can also be bought 1 hour before each show.
One dime at a time, that's the essence of Katie Petty's fundraising effort for a local nonprofit dedicated to saving all kinds of animals, big and small. Petty, a fifth-year student in the Oxford School's early college program, is asking folks to donate their returnable bottles and cans to her so that she can give the proceeds to Pan Equus Animal Sanctuary. Since March 1st, Petty has located a collection box for bottles and cans next to the Peas sign in front of the farm. Her goal is to raise at least $500. To learn more, please visit www.peanimalsanctuary.com. Well, somebody is enterprising, aren't they?
Sure are.
And talking about enterprising, I can't help but introduce the audience to you. Alexis Ware works for the station. She does schooling around, school news, and other things. But you also work outside of the studio.
Yeah, typically over the summer. I'm actually going back this summer to what was formerly known as CBS Radio, now Intercom Communications. So it's a lot of fun.
So you're doing radio as well as television.
Exactly.
What do you prefer? You prefer the radio as opposed to television, or you like them both?
Well, for radio, I'm only a promo girl, which is actually really fun because I get to go to all the concerts, but I do prefer television.
Well, concerts are fun. I would imagine that would be the case.
Yep. And I'm Alexis Ware, and that's Oxford News This Week. If you would like to learn more about these stories and others, you can catch us on our website at OCCTV.org, on YouTube, and of course, your regular cable channel, Spectrum 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
And coming up soon is OCTV's very own Cody Wright with school sports and school news, incorporating great topics with our friend Alexis Ware. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Alexis Ware. Thanks for watching Oxford News This Week.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Watching OCTV News at the News Studio.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, killing bacteria in space is surprisingly hard. Space missions have been plagued by bacterial biofilms that have coated surfaces and corroded equipment. Now, an antimicrobial metal surface that explodes bacteria on contact has been tested on the International Space Station, or ISS, and it may be used in future missions to keep astronauts healthy. Elizabeth Gronem at the Beuth University of Applied Sciences in Berlin and her colleagues tested an antimicrobial coating called AGXX, which consists of thin layers of the metal silver and ruthenium treated with vitamin C. They affixed metal sheets to a contamination-prone surface, the ISS's bathroom door. Taking swabs of 6, 12, and 19 months, the team found that compared with sheets of stainless steel and silver, the AGXX surface had a significantly reduced number of bacteria. AGXX works via a redox reaction between the silver and ruthenium, producing the free radicals that damage bacterial cell wall membranes. They really explode the bacteria, says Gronem. Over time, some bacteria grew, but by 19 months, there were 80% fewer strains on the AGXX than on the steel. No serious illness-causing bugs were found, says Gronem, but most strains found were resistant to at least 3 antibiotics. Spacecraft are ripe environments for bacterial resistance, mainly because there isn't the normal competition between human-associated bacteria and bugs from the environment. Certain strains develop thicker cell walls and others multiply faster in microgravity. Astronauts on the ISS aren't allowed to use aerosol cleaning agents or liquids containing flammable alcohol, so new antimicrobial fixes are in high demand. The study concluded in 2015, and since then, antimicrobial properties of AGXX have been improved, says Granum. The coating will next be tested in a joint isolation mission between NASA and Russia's Institute for Biomedical Problems. And still in space, the ocean underneath Europa's icy shell may have a jet stream around its equator, which could be making the surface crack and stirring around compounds important for life. Jupiter's powerful magnetic field extends out nearly 5 million kilometers on average, enveloping the planet's major moons. One of these moons, Europa, has a salty liquid ocean beneath the ice. The salt would make the ocean conduct electricity, which means that a rotating magnetic field could apply a force to it and make the water move. Christoph Giesinger at the École Normale Supérieure and Ludovic Pédomage at the Laboratory for Studies of Radiation and Matter and Astrophysics and Atmospheres, both in Paris, used measurements from the Galileo spacecraft to calculate how Jupiter's magnetic field could move Europa's ocean. They found that it would probably cause a jet stream around the equator moving a few centimeters per second in the opposite direction of Europa's spin. This stream, flowing against the moon's rotation, could stress the surface, causing it to crack around the equator. It will not slow down the entire moon because the tidal forces from Jupiter are huge and will keep Europa's rotation the same, but it will create these cracks that we have seen, says Giesinger. Some of the energy from the magnetic field could also dissipate as heat, which would then flow towards the poles, thinning the ice shell and possibly creating the conditions necessary for the plumes of water we've seen spurting out of Europa. The stream may be similar to Earth's Gulf Stream, a vast current in the Atlantic Ocean, Giesinger says. If Europa's ocean has life, the ocean's flow could be the key to nourishing and spreading it. Wow. And still in space, Japan's Hayabusa 2 spacecraft has successfully landed on the asteroid Ryugu and collected the first sample from its surface. The sample collection was originally planned to take place on October 2018, but it had to be delayed because Ryugu's surface proved to be more uneven than expected. The boulder-strewn terrain means that mission controllers had to aim for a 6-meter circle on this asteroid to control the landing precisely. At around 2300 GMT on February 21st, they confirmed that the ambitious maneuver had been pulled off. As it touched the asteroid, the spacecraft fired a 5-gram bullet made of tantalum onto the surface to dislodge particles and collect them with its sampling instrument. Then it began to rise again. Controllers plan to take 2 more samples before Hayabusa 2 returns to Earth. The third will be the most destructive, using explosives to blow a crater in the asteroid so the probe can sample material from under the surface. The findings will be of interest to companies hoping to mine asteroids for valuable resources. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Hello everyone and welcome back to School News. We're slowly moving into warmer weather, last week being the first day of spring. Last week was also the start of both Clear Lake and Daniel Axford's school book fairs for March's Reading Month. So if you didn't get a chance to purchase any books yet, remember that today is the last day for Daniel Axford. This past Thursday, Clear Lake housed their monthly Green Team meeting, and Lakeville, following March's Reading Month, held a reading night. Look for coverage of both those events on the Schooling Around segment. Moving into this week's events, today is Daniel Axford's last day for their book fair. Tomorrow, the 26th, OES is hosting an authors event with Jonathan Rand from 9:30 until 10:30 a.m. Wednesday, Leonard Elementary is hosting their own authors event with Matt Faulkner from 2 to 3 p.m. And Oxford High School has a mini mites competition being held by Dan Bosley at 1 p.m. Thursday will be the award ceremony for the Mini Mites competition at 12:52, and Friday has a string of events starting with an 8 a.m. Student of the Month breakfast. OMS has a spring activities and Master of the House assembly, and Friday also kicks off spring break with the elementary schools having half days. Check with the individual schools for the correct times on that day. Students will be on spring break until the 8th of April. Also, if you know of a student who displays outstanding leadership skills either inside or outside of school and you think they'd make a great student host, contact us on Facebook at Oxford Community Television or via email at manager@occtv.org. And that about does it for this week's episode of School News. Until next time, I'm Alexis Ware.
This spring on OCTV, your home for all Wildcat sports.
Weekdays 4 to 6:30 and weekends 12:30 to 6:30.
OCTV Sports, where it's more than just about the score.
What's happening, Wildcat fans? Cody Wright back here once again for this week's sports report. Now that the winter season has officially ended, it's time to switch gears to our spring sports that lie just around the corner. Not a whole lot to go over this week. However, in a few weeks, we will be kicking off our seasons for boys golf, girls soccer, softball, baseball, lacrosse, and track. And already we have some preseason action to look forward to, so let's just take a look at that. Well, the baseball team will hit the field to get ready for the season this Friday at Brandon. Next week on the 25th and 26th, the boys will also be taking on Avondale and Detroit Country Day. These are preseason games. However, if you are a baseball fan, you should be there to kick off what we hope to be an exciting year. Also, the girls softball team will be kicking off their season in a few weeks, April 9th to be exact, on the road taking on Romeo. We'll be sure to make it to both boys and girls home games this season as always. Also, both boys and girls lacrosse teams are hitting the field for some preseason action. The boys club will be taking on Rochester Adams, and the girls will be taking on the road on Lake Orion. Like I said before, these are not regular season games, but if you are a true fan, make your way out and show your support to kick off the season strong. We'll most definitely have more info on the early season developments as well as the results to these season kickers next week. The website is starting to post a lot of extra info as far as rosters, full season schedules, and more. For all that, go to oxfordathletics.org. That is the official home of Wildcat Sports. Once again, that is oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at occtv.org. All of our coverage of these upcoming events will be posted there, as well as past games and other programs we put together that is just for you. Once again, that is occtv.org. I wish we had more to go over this week, but we are in one of those periods between seasons. It's only a matter of time, and we will have all we can handle. So until then, I want to thank you all for watching and remind you all to tune in next time. I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats.
Hi, I'm Elgin Nichols with Oxford Community Television.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we represent Minutes by Minute, in which case you want to catch local information that's going on with your government officials.
That's right. Whether you live in the village of Oxford, Oxford Township, village of Leonard, Addison Township, we'll cover it all.
All of the above, and we'll look to see you there.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, General Motors threw a bone to President Donald Trump on March 22nd by announcing an investment in its electric car plant north of Detroit after enduring days of intense criticism for idling an Ohio factory. The investment is valued at $300 million, according to two people familiar with the plans cited by Reuters. The sources also said GM will announce plans for a new electric compact vehicle for Chevrolet, and the automaker will formally endorse the pending United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, which would replace the North American Free Trade Agreement. GM on March 21st said in a media advisory that it would announce news on March 22nd along with the UAW and local government officials at its factory in Orion Township. The company said only that it's making major new investment focused on the development of GM future technologies at the facility that builds fully electric Chevrolet Bolt cars. CEO Mary Barra is expected to attend, a company spokesman said. Building an all-new electric vehicle in Orion would underscore GM's gradual shift away from gasoline-fueled cars toward battery-powered models. The investment announcement came at a time when the company was wrangling with the UAW and Trump over ending production of a car plant about a 4-hour drive away in Lordstown, Ohio. GM's plan for Orion may not be enough to appease Trump, whose lashing out is probably linked to efforts to keep Ohio voters in his corner for the 2020 election. But the investment it announced on March 22nd is expected to create new jobs or transfer opportunities for workers at plants including Lordstown and another in Hamtramck area near Detroit that are scheduled to be idled or closed by early next year. GM's Orion plant builds the gasoline-powered Chevy Sonic Compact and could continue to make conventional internal combustion engine cars, but the facility has tooling in place to handle battery packs. It's also allowed to delegate non-assembly work to lower-wage union workers. The factory is in close proximity to GM's R&D center in Warren, Michigan, which could help working out any kinks as it expands output of battery-powered cars. GM announced on October 2017 that it had planned to sell 20 fully electric vehicles by 2023 using a new battery platform that GM President Mark Reuss has said will enable the company to sell cars at a profit. And in the latest crash test in a 2019 Ford F-150 Super Crew tested, the dummy's position in relation to the door frame and dashboard after the crash test indicates the passenger survival space was maintained well. The Ford F-150 is the only pickup to earn top ratings in passenger side crash test by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. The Institute said all 4 of General Motors pickup nameplates earned only marginal ratings, while the Toyota Tundra was the only one of 11 crew cab pickups tested to get a poor rating. GM's pickups and the Tundra received poor ratings for how the vehicle structure held up in the passenger side small overlap test, which the Institute initiated in 2017. All 11 pickups tested earned good ratings for head, neck, and chest injuries. The Tundra was the only one not to receive a good rating for hip and thigh injuries. The Ram 1500 and Nissan Titan joined the F-150 in receiving good ratings overall for passenger side safety, though they landed 1 notch below the F-150 for structural integrity. The result contrasts with top ratings for 9 of the 11 pickups on driver side testing conducted previously. The Honda Ridgeline, despite trailing the top performers with an acceptable overall passenger side rating, is the only pickup to qualify for a 2019 Top Safety Pick award. And that's because the Ridgeline is the only one to also get the required ratings of good for headlights and superior for front crash prevention. We commend Ford, that is, Nissan and Ram for providing state-of-the-art crash protection for both drivers and front passengers of their large pickup models, David Zuby, the Institute Chief Research Officer, said in a statement. As a group, however, the pickup class still has a lot of work to do. Small overlap crashes account for about 25% of the serious driver injuries and deaths that occur in frontal impacts, the Institute says. The test, introduced in 2012, involves 25% of a vehicle's front end on the driver's side striking a 5-foot-tall barrier at 40 miles an hour. The Institute added a passenger side small overlap crash test in 2017. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.